Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam. Wow, homeboy. I had no idea that you went to my high school. Or actually, at this point of our careers, I went to your high school because you're a bigger name than I am. Eddie, that's going to change quickly. I discovered how to turn water into a fuel that can power engines. It's simple. Add stevia to water and blend. Water morphs into a natural gas, and all the toxins float like soap for easy removal at the end of the blend, Eddie. So you can make what I call pure H2O. And pure H2O, a blender makes that triple in size. It'll blow the top of the blender off if you fill the blender up and put a lot of stevia in and turn it on, because water will triple in size. Um, this is just a frother, so it's not doing nearly as much as it could, but it's making all that toxic shit float for easy bypass. The straw, stick it in, drink it, and you can be like my uncle, lose 6 cancerous breast tumors in 4 months, along with 74 pounds of flabby fat, and type 2 diabetes was gone within a week. Think about that, Eddie. My uncle lost 6 cancerous breast tumors in 4 months, 74 pounds of flabby fat, and type 2 diabetes was gone within a week. Extrapolate that across America, and we're looking at a Nobel Prize, homeboy. Extrapolate split H2O, powering engines, and we're looking at saving the planet from the petroleum cartel that's trying to kill it. All right? You and I should join forces, Eddie Vedder. They're going to call me Maitreya. If you don't know who Dan Quinn was, you weren't paying attention in Encinitas, dog, because everybody knew who I was back in the day. Knocking people out, football extraordinaire, catching black guys from behind in the open field. They talked about me for 12 years after I was gone from high school, Eddie Vedder, and probably for longer than that. But my cousins, Andy and David Riva, went to my high school, went to San Diego, went to your high school, no academy, and they were talking about me 12 years after I was gone, and they came up in the social standings because they were my relatives. Trip, okay? I'll tell you what, Eddie, what I'm going to do with 95% of the money that I make is pay it down to people who need it. I'm going to make so much that 5% is going to be almost too much to keep, all right? There'll be a time when I have enough, and we're just using the profit to help people who are needy, homeless, and hungry, and helping third world countries come into their own, so we're not treating them like slaves. You know, people wonder why the rest of the world seems to hate America. How about overturning elections in Iran and Chile? And no wonder people can't stand us, because we're not the good guys, Eddie. Although we like to pretend that we are. Anyways, that's getting on to a different subject. I'm at 341. Eddie Vedder, Dan Quinn. If you weren't paying attention, you might have missed it at Notre Dame. I make the greatest stop in the history of Notre Dame football, homeboy. I catch a tailback diving for a touchdown. It's 4th and inches. We're on the goal line, and we're late getting out of our huddle because of the last-second call ordering Dan Quinn to stay home and look for a sweep. It was Lou Holtz overriding Foge Fazio, who was trying to win the game. Foge was, and Lou Holtz was trying to throw the game. He was shaving points, and he's a cheat. And I make the greatest stop in the history of it. Put it like this: if Lou Holtz doesn't order me to stay home and look for a sweep, that play never happens, because I'm in full blitz mode, and the guy that's in front of me, you know, a wide body tight end or a tackle, he blocks me. But I'm in a stance, and I'm reading it, and he thinks there's no way that I can get there. Well, 4.67 Jets, like Marcus Allen, the fastest on the field, chasing down black guys all over, covering them man-to-man in practice at Notre Dame, covering Alan Pinkett so he couldn't get open and couldn't catch a pass. They didn't let me go against Tim Brown, but I dropped him for a 12 to 14 yard loss in the '86 spring game. No, it wasn't the spring game. It was a scrimmage. Anyways, I dropped him for a loss, and then they ran a sweep away from me, and I jumped it, and I was gaining on him. If it had been a 200-yard dash, I would have beat Tim Brown. All right? Jets. I would have been world famous, Eddie, had I not quit football for boxing. I would have been world famous had it not been for Miami PD, Rodney King me, and tearing up my leg to where I looked like the Elephant Man, and then putting me in a cell with a bunch of black guys. I was the only white guy in the cell. Yeah, and that leads to Battle, Battle, in Miami, getting a house and a car and $100,000 when I'm a billionaire because he stood up and protected me from those who would do me harm. Yeah. Anyhow, Eddie, where was I going with this? I'm trying to become the most famous, on my tray, Eddie. I have my tray of blast. It's too cold to show you. Well, it's not too cold. I have my tray blasted on my stomach, homeboy. And I hang with convicts. I'm not crazy. I have the validation. I have the keys to the house. Stevia turning water into a natural gas. You have the fame that could actually get it over the goal line. Score a touchdown, Eddie. Have scientists all over the planet blend stevia in water, and water wouldn't just double in size, it would triple in size. Anyhow, you can see that white toxic soap slowly crashing back down into what looks like water. We're pouring it down the sink and the drain every day, Eddie Vedder, because that's what, quote unquote, they sell us to use. Warning, danger, caution, toxic. Keep out of the reach of children because it'll kill them, make them sick. But we pour it down the sink and the drain back into our water supply, and they're drinking it, okay? They just don't know it. But that's why everybody's getting sick. And if people like Joe Rogan, Eddie Vedder, had paid it forward, we could have saved 120 million lives over the last 12 years when Diego Sanchez told Joe Rogan that stevia acted like a miracle when it cured Ali Sonoma's breast tumor in less than 2 months. It was magic. She was crying herself to sleep at night. Not every night, but some nights, because there was a lump in her breast, and she's a UFC ring girl, and she's not going to be able to keep a job, much less her life, if it potentially goes cancer. And stevia and my miracle, getting all that soap out of water, cured her, okay? Joe Rogan, your time is done, homeboy. When I hit it, you're going to wish you were dead. Seriously, okay? You're going to run for cover, and there's not going to be anywhere that you can hide, because I'm going to have money following you and using you as the example of what not to do and what not to be. You're a Dana White fucking, you're a, what's the name of the mafiosos that are behind them? The Fertitta brothers. I want to be Fertitta. Going bald. It's amazing, okay? There's a symmetry. Anyhow, Eddie, Dana White and Joe Rogan told TMZ that it was me threatening him when it was obviously an Irish or an English accent that was talking on the voice recorder, leaving a message about how he's going to fucking kill him, shoot him up, bang, bang, bang. And I'm wondering, why did TMZ run with it, Eddie? Okay? Why are they trying to hold me back? Because when I say they hold me back, not just TMZ, but everybody that's in the picture, all right? The powers that be don't want Dan Quinn to come into power and fruition, because what he would do would be restore women to their rightful place as the leaders of the herd, Okay? Look at men and what we've done in less than a little over 2,000 years. Less than a little over 2,000 years. A little over 2,000 years. And we've brought our planet to the brink of destruction, and it's not going to last if we continue. We have to change things, Eddie Vedder. And you and I could do that with billions and then trillions of dollars. As soon as pure H2O catches on, Eddie, okay, as being analogous to the fountain of youth, as close as we're ever going to get to it, it's going to become the most sought after, profitable drink on the planet. And especially when those buying it know that I am paying forward 95% of profit back to the workers who help make it, starting new companies that replace the pyramid companies that are just like pharaohs. A couple of pharaohs at the top, grabbing all the fucking profit, keeping it to themselves when they have enough, but they don't know it. And the people on the bottom having to worry about putting food on the table and sending their kids to school and doing all the things that should be a necessity, but they're treating it like a luxury. Okay? We should have free education. Eddie Vedder, Denmark, and several other countries in Europe do it. There's no reason why America couldn't. It's just that they want to keep people down. What I'm going to do, Eddie, with billions of dollars, is I'm friends with Spider from Nuestra Familia. He was one of the original gangsters that started it. And I'm friends with Snubs from Oak Park Zilla. I'm friends with blacks and Mexicans pretty much across the board. I can't really trust whites as far as I can throw them. Okay? Gator, you seem like a nice guy. Aryan Brotherhood, you probably have access to a cell phone where you're at. I think you're doing life. There's no chance that you're on the street. You have testicular cancer. It's too bad that you don't have access to pure H2O and stevia that makes it, because with jacking off and cleaning out the system, I think it would cure it. Okay? I know that it does other cancers. It's cured every cancer that it's done so far. And I'm stating that pure H2O will cure all cancers across the board when people actually realize it. And Eddie Vedder could be a catalyst in getting pure H2O famous. All right? Dan Quinn hasn't done. Dan Quinn, I'll tell you what, I've done about as good as I could being poor, okay, using social media, but it's not globally famous yet, and I've been at it for over 12 years, going on 15 years. That's too long. There's too many people that have died. The planet is on the brink of destruction, Eddie Vedder, and you're famous as fuck. And if you said that stevia actually, woo, gives you a jolt, okay? Put it like this, Eddie. On stevia and marijuana, I was up for 7 days recently, okay? I had witnesses. I could have gone longer, but I chose not to. When there's cameras rolling, I'll try to stretch it for 2 weeks. And the feeling is glorious. You have a lot of stevia in your body because you're drinking sweet water all day long, and then you're hitting marijuana that is 34.12% THC. I got that from Andrew Ayala, who's down in Chile right now, doing things, doing business, legal, and he's a friend. And I got this magical weed, 34.12% THC. I'm going to take a hit. This is the 7th hit off a tiny, tiny little bowl, and it was just one tiny little nug. Why not get 2 hits out of 1, Eddie? I'm smart, homeboy. When I was 8 and 12 years old, 8 through 12, I was tested. They said I had a 154 IQ. I was sent to special schools on certain weekends, doing things. You know, like my mice study, I had 2 mouses given to me by Doris Riva, my aunt, a male and a female, and there was a population explosion, and I saw them go batshit crazy and turn into humans, and I madly started mowing lawns and making money to buy new habit trails. I wonder if they did that on purpose to put me to work. But what I saw was too many animals and not enough space, and they go berserk. It doesn't matter how much food or how much water they have, it's space, okay? We all need it. Humans are exploding at a quicker rate than mice do, okay? We've gone from 13 colonies to 280 million people plus in a little over 200 years. If we don't stop reproduction as it's going, Eddie, we're going to crash this planet. And what we should do is give women incentives to only have 1 kid. You know, have 1 kid, have her tubes tied, cut, and no more. And she gets a house, a car, and $100,000. Okay? That's what I figured out as an incentive to get people to listen. It's actually probably so much of an incentive that in this day and age, people are thinking it's bullshit because it sounds too good to be true. But I'm going to be a billionaire. I had a vision, Eddie Vedder, 35 years ago at Notre Dame. A golden halo. I was in my dorm room, and a golden halo enveloped me and brought me to my knees and showed me I was going to be the richest man on the planet. And what I was to do was end the slavery of women and in economic slavery for everybody. Okay? There's only a few people that are in control. They have all the money, and they're evil. They're like Donald Trump. They're sick in the head, and they don't want everybody to have enough. They're cool with people starving in the streets and going without, and they have billions of dollars in bank accounts that is mildewing. They'll never touch it, okay? That's evil. That's what Jesus attacked when he pulled the moneylender's table, okay? Pulled the leg out and spewed gold coin across the floor. What was the purpose of Jesus attacking money? Because he was trying to warn us. And Jesus did not die for our sins. That is a construct of a small class of people like priests, okay, who are sick in the head, and they want chaos and mayhem. So I can go rape, rob, and pillage, but if I'm a Christian, I take Jesus' name at the very end, and I'm saved. It doesn't work like that, homeboy. But that's what people think, okay? And it's fucking crazy. And it's led to more death and destruction, okay, across this planet. All the other religions, they don't really want to do anything except keep to themselves, except Hamas and the Jews, and that's sick. I don't really want to get into that, but I support Israel. I think that anybody who takes 250, women and children hostages are a bunch of punks, and they should be fucking wiped out. But then again, did we take their people hostage, metaphorically, economically, keeping them without a state, handing it to Israel? This religion thing, man, it's got to stop. Because think about it. Why should religion stop? Because it's led to no fucking good, man. Bible thumpers are the first to pull a trigger, yeah. I'm thinking deep thoughts, Eddie Vedder, taking those hits of marijuana, thinking about how to change the world, what we do is we replace every company that's out there with companies that pay 95% of profit down to those who are working, back to the proletariat. And have women run them, okay? Much more level-headed than men. Men like to, harp on that time of the month, throwing things out of whack. If they aren't being fucked with personally, okay, women are a lot more level-headed than men and would do a better job. That's my way of thinking. Anyhow, Eddie Vedder, you're famous. I'm on the verge of becoming global, okay? A lot of people know who Dan Quinn is. A lot of people think I'm crazy, homeboy. I'm not crazy. The violin, I haven't even talked about the fountain of orgasm for women, Eddie, okay? You could spread joy to millions and millions and millions of women having hundreds of orgasms weekly, easily, okay, by pressing down and up on the G-spot at the same time. Now, everybody goes in and up to the bottom of something, okay, the stomach, they're playing with something, and then the offhand is usually pinching nipple, grabbing ass, or jacking off, okay? But it's not pressing down on top of the stomach against those inside fingers, feeling the pressure, massaging in a violin action. If she hasn't had a C-section, her pelvis will come off the bed to attack your face, homeboy, even if she hasn't had an orgasm in a long time because she was raped or molested. The violin overrides the mental part. You give women orgasms. That's why in the past, one of my videos, I said, if anybody ever rapes a woman with the violin, I will have the Russians who will take the money and run with it, extinct everybody in their family tree, okay? And it's like that. So, Eddie, what I would do is try to bring black, brown, and white together. This is a fact, homeboy. There's more integrity and more honesty among criminals than there is among Donald Trump's class. Donald Trump's class, they make lawyers rich because they lie, steal, cheat, and grope like Donald Trump did, and they use money to get away with it. Somebody else would have been in jail or prison, but Donald Trump gets convicted in civil court and has to pay $5 or $10 million for basically molesting a woman. And they're gonna vote for him for president. Are you fucking kidding me, old boy? Tell me that you're not even thinking about it. Donald Trump is a joke. The fact that his family, his father had a clause put into his will that Donald couldn't touch any of the properties that he owned. He couldn't sell them. He just could profit from them. But ownership, like in selling them, trying to do something, Donald's such a fuck up. He's ruined everything that he's touched. And they knew it. And it's amazing that the Republican Party has sunk so low that they'll sell their morals to vote for somebody who's popular. It's amazing to me that Joe Biden isn't calling Donald Trump on the fact that he's a fucking molester and a failure. Anyhow, Eddie, I'm going to go to 30, I think. What more can I say, dog? Dan Quinn has come a long way. When I was younger, because of football, Eddie, I thought that I was a god. I thought that I walked on water. I thought that there was a good reason for the separation of the different classes, like servants and, people that worked at McDonald's or fast food in general. Yeah, they were there as slaves. And it's not like that. What I do is make companies either outright purchase and then flip the pyramid scheme to one that is planted solidly, firmly in the ground with a level playing field for all, um, across the spectrum. Every company, enough money could do it. The Fountain of Youth could do it. That's what pure H2O is. And there is a certain period of time when I'll be the only one to make money off of it, and then other people can jump in. But hopefully, they won't even think about it because everybody is buying from Dan Quinn because they know that I'm Maitreya. Maitreya, homeboy. That's what I have blasted on my chest. We're living a game. There's aliens out there. I saw them when I was 8 years old. I was asleep and there was a loud thunk, and I sat up on my bed and I saw 3 short grays in spacesuits scurrying across the couch, going for the storm windows, probably out to their spaceship, their getaway. And one of them dropped a large silver suitcase. And we made eye contact, and I was like, oh, they're real. Yeah, they're real. They were coming from my mom's room, dog. That was the last time my mom ever defended me as mothers do. You know, like when my Uncle Fred Riva in Encinitas, California, handcuffed me to a tree for 4.5 hours at a family party. My hands high over my head like this, standing on my tiptoes because that's the only way I could get into those cuffs. Fred Riva and Harry Heisler said that they would let me go, and they didn't. And I was found 4.5 hours later in tears, and nothing ever happened to them. What I like to do, Eddie, is get an attorney and sue my late uncle's estate for damages, especially since I'm at Notre Dame, and my first $1 million opportunity, homeboy, was getting kicked out for an attempted rape, and their own priest's testimony proved that I was beyond any reasonable doubt, beyond any shadow of a doubt, innocent. The girl's story in this 3 to 5 minute time window on behind closed doors with Patsy McGowan, it was silent, okay? Knock, 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 knock at the door. Dan, are you in there? It was the priest, the rector of the hall, coming to talk to me about something, and Patsy McGowan and I froze silent, and we're like, oh my God, we could get in trouble. I could get kicked out. I just got suspended for 2 semesters for bitch slapping Patsy McGowan's older sister's roommate who attacked me. I bitch slapped her, and she ran down the hall, to go get this little fucking male friend of hers that told me to get out. I said, what are you going to do, punk? You going to kick my ass? And anyhow, yeah, it turned out that the girl that I almost was going to hook up with, we didn't have time, turned out to be the younger sister of the girl that I bitch slapped. And their story was that my stereo was playing so loud that her cries for help couldn't be heard, okay? It was a slam dunk to the point, Eddie, where the first $20,000 spent in my defense was enough to get Notre Dame's attorneys to tell Notre Dame to settle. It was a loser, okay? I was going to win. But had I won back then, I wouldn't have my kids now. So I would trade all the millions of lives, even though that's selfish, because I love my kids. I love my sons. And I love my grandson. And it's his birthday right now, actually, 1 year old. And on October 25th last year, there was an earthquake after Oliver Benjamin Quinn was born. He was announcing his presence, man. He's going to be raised the right way, Eddie Vedder. He's going to be raised to respect and to revere women and to use money to level the playing field for all and make it a fair place where everybody can have fun, okay? I think that's what should happen. Yeah, it's amazing. When you let yourself get emotional, you can clear your eyes out. I'm a bit tired anyways. I'm spun on Stevie and weed, Eddie Vedder. I'm going to go all night. I might go for another 7 days. It just depends. My number is 760-809-1744, Eddie Vedder. And for anybody in Pearl Jam to pay this forward, since Eddie and I went to the same high school, what I would like to do for all my friends is to buy them a house, a car, and $100,000 when I'm a millionaire. Okay, that's well within the ramifications, or the not the ramifications, well within the scope of what a billionaire can do, and that's what I like to do. Buy Pete Carroll, Jim McCrans, Scott Cosman, Paul Stevens. We could go on and on for a little bit. Maybe even David King. All my friends in high school. Buy them a house, a car, and put $100,000 in their bank, Eddie. And especially to Jim McCrans, Pete Carroll, and Scott Cosman, who were at Juanita's the night that I knocked out 5 guys and became immortalized by Boogaloo as the bad guy, or the bad boy, the bad guy, the bad boy club. Yeah, Boogaloo told me that was me. I had knocked out 5 guys, 4 that came to attack me, and then number 5, a wannabe hero from New York who had a beautiful girlfriend. It was like, what the fuck's going on here? And I was like, it's none of your business. He said, I'm making it my business. And as soon as he said that, Eddie, I launched a lead right hand and knocked him out, and we were gone. And I didn't have the violin back then, but what I should have said to his woman is, are you really comfortable with being with that? And try to pleasure her. Okay, we're at 32. I'll go to 40, Eddie. Why not? I can upload it. Eddie Vedder, 760-809-1744. Give Dana Quinn a call. Let's talk about how we can save this planet, homeboy. Okay, you got the money, and I'm going to have it. All I need to do is get famous. Help me get over the end zone, okay, over the goal line. Let's score a touchdown together and save this planet and save millions of lives every year just from cancer alone. Okay, it'll save someone's life that we're going to have to slow down on the reproductive end so we don't overpopulate, because we have a certain die-off. The rich want that. They make so much money off of the sickness and death, they wouldn't dare want to lose that. Okay, it's also a lever for keeping people on the straight and narrow so they have insurance, keeping their jobs, not paying attention or saying anything when certain employers do things that may be illegal, shit like that, yeah, it's a bitch, man. And then you marry one. Cut. Anyway, I'm going to be rich, Eddie, sooner or later. Later, this planet is even in more peril than it is now, and millions of people will needlessly die from things that stevia so easily cures. Like this, with a beard and a mustache, and a little face paint. I could do pretty much anything I want and get away with it, Eddie. I wouldn't do that. But what I'm going to do is the same thing, using money to cull, C-U-L-L, out individuals and corporations that do this planet and people no good, all right? What I'm going to do is pay some of my criminal friends to start whacking child molesters, okay? They don't have a chance to do it behind bars, okay, because they're PC, and that's one of the reasons why they feel comfortable enough to do it, because they know they're going to be protected. Well, I think that if they started deceasing here and there, okay, word might spread, and child molestation and rapes and stuff might cease to exist. Okay, I'm willing to spend the rest of my life behind bars easily if it ensured that children were safe. And that's one of the things I'm going to do with my 5%. Okay? 5% of billions and then trillions of dollars. How many billions of people are on the planet? Okay? We can sell pure H2O for $2, $3, $4 a gallon. Do the math, the numbers, the fountain of youth. It'll catch on, and it'll become incalculable how much money it makes daily. It'll make so much money that we can end this game that they started, okay, trying to deplete the planet for profit. What we have to do is start using hemp as the basis for our economy, okay? Hemp plastic, hemp this, hemp that, hemp cement. I mean, they can do it. The shit is magic. But the petroleum cartel doesn't want that. The petroleum cartel wants to use petroleum byproducts that do nothing but toxify and fuck up the ecosystem, man. So we're using petroleum to explode hydrogen into smog, power and then smog, so it's gone forever, invalidating what Einstein said, that nothing ever vanishes. Okay, he was wrong. Einstein was. So we use it to turn hydrogen into a one-time use power, and then we use the byproducts to probably make everything that I'm wearing right now, okay? It's insidious, and it has to stop. We have too many people to live on an agrarian system right now. That's why you got to cut back. There's use for roundtables, man. How many people is enough? Okay, because there's too many people in America, there's too many people in China, and people are having babies at a prolific rate. And what's going to stop that? Incentive, financial, okay? A house, a car, and $100,000, man. You know, fuck religion, okay? Craig Tusher, you know, Catholics and Mormons birthing like pigs, 7, 8, 10 kids. It's got to stop. And so Eddie Vedder, I have a lawsuit against Fred Riva for an unspecified amount of money on damages for handcuffing me to a tree for 4.5 hours when I was either 8 or 12 years old at a family party, and then abandoning me financially at Notre Dame when I have a slam dunk. Okay, you know, I said, Fred, their attorneys have already thrown in the towel. Well, he was like, what are you going to do? You're going to get a job to hire an attorney? Well, why don't you hire an attorney, motherfucker? You know, is what I said. And we hung up and didn't talk for a while, you know. So at 39, yeah, Eddie, I grew up in a fucked up family, homeboy, more focused on money than on doing the right thing. And so we have a lawsuit against Fred Riva. And then we were just talking about something. There was another lawsuit. Oh, when I'm in Miami, and I'm Rodney King, because I told a Miami cop it's not my fault that his mom and dad should have been spayed and neutered to prevent the lumberjanetic shit sitting in front of me. And the cop goes nuts and punches me out of a chair onto the floor. And I start laughing, and I said, I know bitches they hit harder than you, punk. And that's when he took my foot that was up in the air because it was on my stomach, and he